Hey everybody, welcome on in to Sports Live in the 215. Today we'll discuss the NCAA Men's Basketball National Championship, which saw the Florida Gators defeat the Houston Cougars a couple weeks ago. I'm sorry, this is all very rushed. I meant to actually record this same day as the This Week in Towson Baseball video, but StreamYard, I got kicked out. But anyway, not kicked out, but I lost my hour limit, which actually resets in a couple days. So point being, I'm over at Riverside for a few weeks, and then I'll go back to StreamYard until we can find a more permanent recording platform for the podcast. But anyway, welcome back to it. I apologize for the delay. I was just really catching up on schoolwork and stuff. But anyway, let's forget all that. Let's go. Let's get into it. I thought the Florida Gators made a bunch of really key adjustments in the national championship game. They um they it actually felt like they were really confused by what Houston was doing defensively, and credit to their coaching staff for making those halftime adjustments and even the in-game adjustments during the game. There was a point in the first half of that game um where uh, I I believe the oh gosh, I'm sorry, I'm very flustered. Florida Gators star, Clayton, who looks to be an absolute star. I'm blanking on his first name. He was only 1 for 6 or 1 for 5 in the first half with 1 point coming on a free throw. And there's a point with like 10 minutes left in the second half of that game where he kind of felt where he converted on one of his free throws, and Grant Hill made a point on commentary that it's like maybe that kept him going, and the rest of that game he was the star for the Florida Gators. And Houston, it seemed like they had no answers once he kind of turned it on. It was, oh boy, this kid's special. Yeah, you can see why he's looking to be one of the top 3 picks in this year's draft. He just has something that all the greats do. That when the pressure's on, they kind of they rise to that level. The lights don't get too big for them, and that's really what happened. I felt with as far as Houston. They once Florida kind of started to get momentum, like hey, we're in this game. They kind of fell apart at the seams, and I think that might be due to the fact that like Florida as a program, obviously a really long time ago, has been in national championships, national championship games before. They've actually been there. They've actually been there 4 times in their school's history, whereas Houston has only been there, I want to say, once or twice. Like back in the '80s when they had Hakeem Olajuwon, Clyde Drexler, I forget who else they had. It was the Phi Slamma Jamma team that lost to NC State. But anyway, it just seemed like their program, the Houston basketball program, kind of was like, oh my God, we're dominating Florida in the national championship. It felt, as a viewer and as an outside viewer, it felt like Houston played the first half like it was the whole national championship, whereas Florida was like, hey, like our program's been here before. Like we haven't necessarily been here before, so it's just a regular basketball game. It's just a bigger stage for us. So and for Houston, maybe they came out in the first half with what it felt like was a lot more of desperation. It felt like caught Florida a little bit off guard. But once Florida kind of weathered the storm, it was eventually all over. But the shouting. I mean, once Clayton and Clayton took over offensively, it felt like their defense kind of started to roll and build some momentum, get some stops, and that final sequence when I'm forgetting the guy's name, but both guys were kind of diving on the floor toward the end of the game. That the clock ran out. It just felt like, again, the theme of this game was who's gonna want it more. And in the first half, it was Houston, because they felt like the hungrier team. It's like, from Florida's perspective, it was kind of like, we've been here before. It's the national championship. It's whatever. And Houston said, no, we need this. We need this. Our program needs this. Our fans and our alumni are starving. And once Florida got the message, I feel like they kind of realized, like, okay, this is a battle. And obviously 2 number 1 seeds, 2 of the best teams in the country. So you knew there was going to be a battle, and it really was, but it happened in spurts. It wasn't just this back and forth game. It was Houston would kind of have a lot of momentum for 5 minutes, and then Florida would kind of have momentum for 5 minutes, and then they would trade these kind of momentum stretches. So it wasn't the traditional back and forth game. So so that's what kind of made it interesting. It's like it wasn't just this heavyweight fight. It was kind of more the team effort of Houston against maybe the more star-driven individual kind of style of play of Florida. And at the end of the day, it was really the kind of collecting themselves and adopting sort of Houston's kind of team effort style of play. And I mean, obviously the star power they had, like Condon, Clayton, those guys took the lead, and then the rest of their pieces sort of fell in line. And once that happened, it was really just it was all Gators, and it just felt like once Florida bought in, it was all over but the shouting. Yeah, congrats to Florida. Great season by Houston, obviously. But at the end of the day, Florida, for the first time since I was 4 or 5 years old, they're the NCAA men's basketball champion. So they're the national champion. Congratulations to them. It's going to be interesting to see kind of how they respond with losing guys to the NBA and stuff, because all that has happened with Florida, we haven't seen their star player gain this much attention since the Al Horford, Joakim Noah days back in like 06, 07. So it's going to be interesting to see how that program rebounds. So that'll certainly be one of the early storylines of 2025 picks. And to be honest, I hadn't watched a lot of college basketball until the tournament, but I may get into college basketball now. Or I may get back into college basketball. That's what I mean. But obviously, Florida is the national champion. Congratulations to them. Obviously, my friend Lauren, who you guys have heard about on the Philly season preview video, it is a Florida Gator grad, or is a University of Florida grad. She actually played lacrosse at UF, so I'm sure she's happy. But anyway, thank you guys for listening to this, and as always, I guess, chomp chomp. No, I'm kidding. Like, I'm a Towson Tiger, but as always, thank you for listening to this, and have a great day, everybody.